What disturbing rumor turned out to be true at your school? When I was a senior in high school, we had a new teacher join the faculty to teach health and home economics. She was probably about 26 years old and very, very attractive. Everyone was talking about the hot new teacher. As I was senior class president, I needed a new faculty advisor since my previous advisor of 3 years retired at the end of my junior year. About 2 weeks later, the principal called me into his office and informed me that the new hot teacher was going to be our new class advisor for the rest of the year. As a result, she and I spent a lot of time together at school and off campus, organizing and running myriad events to raise money for the class plan, the prom, field trips, etc. Soon the rumors started flying around that she and I were messing around. This was completely false. I can say she never acted inappropriately towards me or suggested anything to make me think she had plans for any type of physical or sexual activity. She was a fantastic advisor and always just that, a class advisor. I spent the rest of the year denying these rumors with friends, with teachers, and with parents. I was even interrogated by my wrestling coach the day before the district championship match. She and I had a laugh about it at graduation as she had to face similar questions from other faculty, as well as the principal. She confided in me that she had tendered her resignation, but the principal would not accept it and said he believed her and would ensure the rumor was squashed. So I graduated and left for my plebe year at West Point, forgetting about the entire situation. At West Point, the first year is called plebe year rather than freshman year. The first semester of my plebe year was moving along as it should, with no unusual events worth mentioning until the final month. Then, in early December, the topic of my high school faculty advisor resurfaced. One night when I was studying, there was a knock on my door, and the company tactical officer, a regular Army captain, walked in and told me to report to his office immediately as there was a phone call from me from the Dover Police Department. Now, I immediately assumed it was my brother playing some kind of twisted joke on me, since he was a captain in the very same police department waiting for me on the phone. Since my TAC was standing right behind me, I answered the phone as we were taught. Cadet Kerwick speaking. How may I help you, sir? Mom? I immediately recognized the voice on the other end. It was not my brother, but a close friend I had grown up with and known for over 15 years. I answered the phone with a mix of confusion and tension. The voice on the other end was Mike, a childhood friend with whom I'd lost touch over the years, but our bond was deep, like brothers growing up together. His tone was serious, something that immediately put me on alert. Kerwick, are you sitting down? He asked bluntly. No, but it sounds like I should be. I replied, trying to keep my tone light, but a growing unease was creeping in. What could Mike possibly have to tell me? And why was the Dover police involved in this? It's about the teacher, the class advisor, he continued, lowering his voice as if he was about to reveal something dangerous. Her name immediately resurfaced in my mind, along with all those memories of our time together and the damn rumors. A cold chill ran down my spine. She's been arrested, man. They're saying she was involved with another student from our school. I went silent for a moment, unable to process what I had just heard. That's impossible, Mike. I was with her all year. If anyone would have known about something like that, it would have been me. She never acted inappropriately, not towards me or anyone else. I know it sounds crazy, Mike replied, urgency still in his voice. But what they're saying is serious. Apparently, the other student she was involved with was much younger. They arrested her after some evidence surfaced. Photos, messages, it looks like the kid finally broke his silence. I felt nauseous. The image I had of her, a professional, responsible, and kind person, was being completely shattered. At the same time, a part of me refused to believe it. How could this be true? I spent so much time with her. How could I not have noticed anything? Who is this student? I asked, my voice barely audible. I was in shock. They haven't released his name, but it seems he was a freshman when you were a senior, Mike replied. The school tried to cover it up for a while, but now that the kid has gone public, everything's blown up. My tactical officer was watching me closely as I absorbed this information. He knew something big was going down. I felt a tingling in my hands, the kind that comes before a panic attack. This couldn't be real. Not her. But something told me Mike wouldn't be calling me if this was just another rumor. There's one more thing, Mike said hesitantly. Spit it out. I urged, feeling the weight of what was about to come. She's gone. She disappeared after she was released on bail. No one knows where she is. My thoughts became even more jumbled. Part of me wanted to believe she was innocent, that this was all some bizarre misunderstanding. But why would she run if she wasn't guilty? The following days were a whirlwind of conflicting thoughts and emotions. My training at West Point demanded my full attention, but my mind was elsewhere, stuck in that high school, in events that now seemed much darker. I received a few calls from friends back home, all wanting to know what I knew, as if I had some special insight into the mystery. But the truth was, I was as lost as they were. Until one night, I received another call. This time, it was my brother. He worked for the Dover Police Department and had managed to get some confidential information. "Kerwick, I shouldn't be telling you this," he started, his voice serious and filled with caution. "But we found her car. She was heading north, maybe trying to cross the border into Canada. But the strangest thing is, when they found it, she wasn't alone." "What do you mean by that?" I asked, trying to remain calm. There were signs of a struggle inside the car and footprints in the snow around it. It looked like someone was following her. This made no sense. If she was running, why would someone be after her? And why would she leave such obvious clues? "Who?" I asked, my mind racing in 1,000 directions. "We don't know for sure, but we're starting to believe there's more to this story. Something that might involve not just the school, but more influential people." My heart pounded. I knew something was off from the beginning. But now, it seemed like things went way beyond an inappropriate relationship between a teacher and a student. Could someone be trying to silence her? Could there be more secrets she knew that would hurt powerful people? The following weeks were like a puzzle, with no clear answers. The police were silent, and all my attempts to dig deeper ended up in dead ends. Until one random night, when I had almost given up hope of discovering the truth, I received a strange message. The number was unknown. The text simple, "She tried to warn me." A chill ran down my spine. I knew this wasn't just a coincidence. Someone was trying to send me a message. But who? And what was she trying to warn me about? The message she tried to warn me was etched in my mind. I knew something was terribly wrong, and the feeling that there was more to this story began to consume me. In the days that followed, I tried to get back into my routine at West Point, but that cryptic message wouldn't leave me alone. Who had sent it? And what exactly had she tried to warn me about? Between training, classes, and the pressures of military life, I couldn't stop thinking about it. Then, on a cold winter night, my phone vibrated once more. This time, the number was familiar. It was her, the teacher. "Kerwick, I need your help. They're after me, and I don't know who to trust. I didn't do any of the things they're accusing me of. The charges are all fake, and now I'm being hunted by people who believe in lies. If we don't act fast, I'm afraid of what's going to happen." I froze. What was she telling me? Fake news? Being hunted? This was going far beyond the school rumors. It was clear that things had spiraled out of control. The group pursuing her, from what she said, was convinced she was guilty of something that, according to her, never happened. "They're saying I had an affair with a student," her next message read. "It all started as gossip, but now it's turned into a nightmare. Someone created a false narrative, and these people bought into it. They've been following me, and I have nowhere to go." A chill ran down my spine. This wasn't just about school rumors anymore. She was being hunted, and all because of a lie that had grown into something monstrous. And if what she was saying was true, she was alone, with no support, no one to trust. But why had she reached out to me? Maybe because we spent so much time together during that senior year, she believed I was the only one who truly knew her. I took a deep breath and replied, "Where are you? Tell me how I can help." For several minutes, there was no response. I paced back and forth in my small dorm at West Point, my mind racing. How could I, a cadet in military training, help her? I had no resources, no real power. But a part of me knew I couldn't just ignore her plea for help. Finally, another message came through. "I'm in a small town near the Canadian border. I can't tell you exactly where right now, but they're getting closer. I need your help to reveal the truth. If we don't, these people will destroy my life." I sat down, trying to think clearly. How could I help her uncover the truth? I started going through everything I knew, mentally revisiting all the events of our senior year. There had been no signs, no indication that she was involved with any student. I knew those rumors had been absurd from the start, but now they had turned into a monster she couldn't control. I remembered something my brother said about powerful people possibly being involved. Maybe this wasn't just about school gossip and a group of vigilantes. There was a chance that someone was using these rumors to get rid of her, to destroy her reputation for reasons still unknown. "I'll try to help," I finally replied. "But you need to give me more details. Who's after you? Why do they believe these lies?" Her answer came quickly. "It's a group of parents and some former students from the school, but it's clear that someone's manipulating them. They believe everything that's been spread online. They've made fake photos, taken pictures of me and the student at school events, and twisted everything. They think I'm a monster and that they're delivering justice." I felt a knot in my stomach. This was a witch hunt based on misinformation. Fake photos, twisted truths. Everything was fueling their hatred against her. And the worst part was, even if she was innocent, no one seemed willing to listen. The internet had this power. Once the lie gained traction, it became almost impossible to stop it. I paused to think about the gravity of the situation. We needed proof to refute the accusations, something solid that could expose the fake news and whoever was behind it. But how could we get that without putting her in even more danger? Then an idea came to me. I remembered that some of the events she mentioned, like fundraisers and field trips, have been filmed by the school for the yearbook and other purposes. If we could find those recordings, maybe there would be visual evidence proving that nothing inappropriate had happened between her and the student. Do you remember if they filmed any of the activities we did at school? Videos of the fundraisers or trips? Maybe we can use those to prove nothing happened. It took her a while to respond, but when she did, there was a hint of hope in her words. Yes, they filmed a lot of those events. Do you think you can find those videos?" "I'll try," I replied. "And I'll also see if I can figure out who's spreading these lies. There might be someone out there trying to ruin you for a reason." As I prepared for this improbable mission, I knew time was running out. She was being hunted by people blinded by rage, led by a lie that spread too fast to contain. Now, it was a race against time to prove her innocence before it was too late. And deep down, I knew that by helping her, I was stepping into a dangerous game myself. After several sleepless nights, trying to figure out a way to help the teacher and clear her name, I came up with a risky but potentially effective idea. The winter dance at the school was scheduled for the following week, and it would gather students, alumni, teachers, and even parents. If there was ever a time to expose the truth and show evidence of her innocence, it would be at that event. I knew many of the people spreading the rumors would be there, and it was the perfect opportunity to confront them head-on. I managed to get hold of the videos of school events from a friend who still worked in the school administration. I spent days reviewing the footage and gathering scenes that clearly showed there was nothing inappropriate between the teacher and the student. The material was irrefutable. Doctored photos and rumors couldn't compete with hard evidence. Everything was ready. On the night of the event, I arrived with the videos and a renewed sense of purpose. The room was packed with familiar faces, and the murmur of conversation filled the air. I knew this would be delicate, but I also knew there was no other way to stop the lies without a direct confrontation. I managed to catch the attention of one of the organizers and asked to speak on stage. They hesitated, but given my history as class president, they agreed. As soon as I took the microphone, the room fell silent. All eyes were on me. "Good evening, everyone," I began, my voice echoing through the hall. Some of you know me, and you know that during my senior year, I worked closely with our class advisor, the teacher who has been accused of something very serious. But what many of you don't know is that these accusations are entirely false. A wave of murmurs rippled through the crowd. I pressed on, keeping my voice steady. What's been circulating is based on fake news, twisted rumors. And tonight, I'm going to show you the truth. With a nod, the video started playing on a large screen set up in the hall. The footage showed scenes from school events. Me and the teacher, the student in question, and other classmates participating in perfectly normal activities. There was nothing suspicious, no inappropriate behavior. It was just a teacher doing her job with dedication and professionalism. As the video played, the mood in the room shifted. The murmuring turned into whispers of support. People began to realize they had been deceived, influenced by lies. When the video ended, applause filled the hall. I could see the relief and remorse on the faces of some parents and teachers. Finally, the truth was out in the open, and support for the teacher began to emerge. But just as I felt we had won, the peace was shattered. 3 police officers entered from the back of the hall, their eyes locked on me. One of them approached and asked me to come with him. The room, which had just been on my side, now watched in silence as I left the stage. I was escorted outside, where a squad car was waiting. "We need a statement from you," one of the officers said, his tone more of a command than a request. Confused, I asked what this was about. I thought it might be related to what I had just revealed, but when we arrived at the station, things took a much darker turn. "It's about the teacher," the officer finally said after having me sit down. "The one you just offended." I felt a wave of panic creeping in again. "What's going on?" "She was arrested a few hours ago," he said calmly. "But what you probably didn't know is that she's not who you think she is." Confused, I asked what he meant. That's when he handed me a folder of documents. "The teacher you knew changed her name a few years ago. She came from another state, fleeing serious charges. She dyed her hair and built a new identity. The name she uses now isn't her real one, and the accusations you try to debunk, well, the ones from her previous state are true." My heart sank. Everything I thought I knew was unraveling. "She's a criminal?" I asked, struggling to process the information. "Yes," the officer replied. "She was involved with minors in her home state and was accused of other crimes before she fled here and tried to hide under a new identity. The accusations in this town may have been exaggerated, but there are far darker truths about her past. The FBI arrested her today as she was trying to flee again." My mind was spinning. How had I not seen this? I had spent so much time with her, believing in her innocence, and now everything made sense. She had been running because she was guilty of things no one here could have imagined. And now, by getting so involved, I realized I had stepped into something much bigger than I had ever anticipated. "Are you in danger?" the officer asked, pulling me from my thoughts. I didn't know how to respond. Maybe. I wasn't sure who else might be involved or how far this would go. But one thing was clear. I couldn't continue getting involved. I had exposed the truth, but it was only a partial truth. There was so much more hidden in the shadows, and now I knew that if I kept digging, the consequences could be devastating. As I left the police station, the weight of everything that had happened hit me all at once. I had believed I was helping someone innocent, but in the end, she was a criminal on the run from her past. The sense of danger still hung in the air, but I knew that from this moment on, I could never involve myself in something like this again. I had survived this, but now I just wanted peace. That night, after returning to my dorm, I turned off my phone and decided to distance myself from it all. I had made it through this ordeal, but I knew better now. Sometimes, the truth is far darker than we realize. And I decided it was best not to get involved in these kinds of matters ever again.